3 Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? Let's go to
the 3 Count question of the week.
We are at pretty much the 1 year anniversary point of NXT on USA, AEW Dynamite, and SmackDown on Fox.
Oh, I got my pen.
So I kind of wanted to revisit and go over some of the highlights for each of us. And again, if you're following along in the live video, play along with us on this one. I'd like to hear some of yours as well. Some of the biggest, matches, moments, whatever, memorable moments from the year in these 3 shows. Does anybody want to kick us off?
I made it very simple. What was the other show? SmackDown, right?
Dynamite, SmackDown, and NXT on USA.
Yeah, I just kind of picked moments from this year that I thought stood out. COVID era, during the COVID era, however that was.
Okay.
AEW, I was absolutely hooked, and I thought they built.
Ryan froze up.
He's frozen.
Ryan.
He's like the snowman.
Ryan's face looks like he's squatting a grumpy.
Poopsie daisy.
Yeah, come on, Ryan. Force it. Get it out.
That's pretty good.
All right. Well, I'll kick us off until Ryan returns, or
he's in the time warp right now. Golly. Someone get that man some
him.
milk.
Someone unpause Ryan, please. For me, I look back and like the Wednesday night, the first night of the Wednesday Night Wars, NXT on USA, and Ryan disappeared. Hopefully he jumps back on with us. Tim, don't panic.
We lost him.
Don't panic. His phone just restarted. He messaged us.
I'm totally panicking. Hold on.
And his phone restarted. Tim, you do what you got to do. I'm gonna talk here for a second. Opening night, you have AEW in Washington, D.C., the Capital One Arena where the Washington Capitals play, a WWE venue, so to speak. It's on that scale. Then you have NXT, and just to have a different show to that scale, on that size, like it just, it is something that I didn't really think that we'd ever get there. Like, you go back to the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era, stuff like that. I'm huge on the screen. I really didn't think we'd ever get there. I didn't think we'd get back to that point in wrestling and to have another show. And again, you're competing with the WWE's third brand, and I have fun with it and all of that. But it's wild to see another show on that level. And then on the NXT side, you had Finn Balor returning, to NXT and getting back into that world. It was just, for the first time since WCW got bought out, it was the first time that it was like, we can do the, previous channel, flipping back and forth, picture in picture. I got one on TV. I got one on the iPad. I think Ryan had even come over to the house because, that was a time in the world when you could actually go to other people's houses safely. Imagine that. It was really a wild time. But yeah, I have some other ones written down, but I'll throw. We'll go to you next, intern Mark. A memory moment match, something from the year that was in these shows.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great year to be a wrestling fan, and it still is, to have, like you said, with the competition and flipping back and forth. I really, same as you, Jim, I didn't think we'd ever get there again, but here we are. Well, I'll tell you what, AEW, the best friends with Orange Cassidy, boy, those guys, Orange Cassidy, especially, that guy's going to become a star. I've become a big fan. Brody Lee jumping over to AEW, that was a big deal. His whole character is just great. The best friends and Sue and their minivan, which is just recently. Boy, I can't get enough of that. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Let me think. I don't know if there's one piece that stands out. I thought even last night Cody's promo after winning the TNT title again. I mean, that guy Cody Rhodes is like his dad would be so proud of him. He's an all-star. He's speaking from the heart. No scripted promos. I thought that was really great, his speech last night. And Cody's given some really good speeches in wrestling.
I had written down one of mine was his, the 14 years promo, leading up to Full Gear last year. I mean, we have it in our intro. Like those Rhodes boys know how to promo. If there's one thing besides wrestle that those Rhodes boys can do, Ryan's coming back in. If there's one thing that those Rhodes boys know how to do, it's cut a promo. Like they do it. They know how to do it. It's passionate. You can tell that they love their craft. They're good at their craft. They work on their craft. It's not something that they just get by doing. They are great at pretty much like all things professional wrestling. Like they know how to do it. I think, Ryan, do we have you on audio?
It looks like he's muted. Oh,
yeah, no, I should be unmuted.
Okay, we're good. We can hear you now.
So
he's back.
I had my phone. I bought a new holder for my phone, and I had it pressing in the power button that whole time, and I adjusted my phone, and it shut my phone off. So that explains what had happened there. My apologies. I just have to have it a little higher, I guess.
Spadudios.
Whoopsies. So Ryan or Tim, whoever wants to go next, any matches, memories from the year that was in these programs. Lou joining us, Scotty joining in with us. How you doing, guys? Yes, Ryan.
I was just waving.
Oh, well, then I'll throw it to you.
I'll go then. That's fine. I think Orange Cassidy was built really, really well with Chris Jericho. I enjoyed that program, so that would be my AEW nod. I think the biggest moment for NXT this year, and I don't know why, my first thought when I saw this question was Karrion Kross having to lay down the championship, and really just his run in general. I guess I've liked everything about Karrion Kross, and then anything to do with the Fiend over on SmackDown. More recently, the Russo and Reigns and Uso.
The Russo and Uso.
Russo and Uso. The
Russo and Uso.
Bro.
Was just so good. So good.
3 Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? Yeah, Tim, how about you?
For me, if we're talking about the year that was from the anniversary of Dynamite onward, I'm trying to think. For AEW, probably the debut of the Exalted One.
Okay.
He was really like the first of the bigger names, bigger current names from WWE that was making their way over. Like, because by that time, Moxley had already shown up. He was already doing his thing. But with Mr. Brody Lee, like, it opened the door for like Miro and the other guys who were a part of that original like 90-day wait period, which was very good. For me, NXT, the moment is going to be the double champ, Keith Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Standing tall with both titles, unifying only to then let it go and then only to lose the title. But it's still a very seminal moment and probably looked upon very highly in the year that was 2020. As for SmackDown, that first SmackDown on Fox was awesome. Aside from the fact that it was, I believe, the night Kofi Kingston lost the SmackDown
Yes.
to Raw
Yeah.
for the
That's
WWE Championship to Brock Lesnar
in a hot second.
in a hot, just bink bonk.
And it I loved, hated it. Like that was one of the moments I put down. Like I didn't like that Kofi's reign ended that abruptly in that way, but I loved it because again, it's that moment.
SmackDown on Fox, it's a big moment.
Yeah.
It requires a big moment, you know.
And
curious to see what they're going to try to do to rival it Friday.
Right, 'cause, yeah, it's the season premiere or whatever they want to call it. Because really, if you look at Brock winning it from Kofi, now I understand Brock could have won the Universal title on Raw, or if Kofi drops the title, somebody else, Brock could get it, at Survivor Series or whatever. You could have gotten Brock to the title another way and still had the Drew McIntyre story play out as it did. But that was the first part to, Brock wins the title. Then they do the switcheroo because Brock wants to be on Raw. And then it led to the Royal Rumble. Drew eliminates Brock because there wasn't a challenger for him. And then, of course, Drew McIntyre winning the title. Scotty says the biggest NXT moment for him was the rise of Karrion Kross. SmackDown was Roman Reigns. I had that written down too, like the Reigns Heyman, obviously with the recency bias there. And for Raw, you say Randy Orton, the year that Randy Orton has had, especially in the COVID era, absolutely. For me, I would say the Bob Lashley in the Hurt Business. Like if you would have told me a year ago that one of my highlights of the year coming up was going to be Bob Lashley, an MVP, and their faction, I would have been like, "You're crazy, man. I like you, but you're crazy." And it's been fantastic.
Another really impactful moment for television on 2020 is the debut of the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Like people aren't going to necessarily like think of that.
Sure.
But it was an absolute game changer for WWE television.
Yeah, and they needed it.
They absolutely did. And like to now it's every television now, because now that NXT is in the Capitol Wrestling Center.
Right. Yeah, you don't get that without the Thunderdome.
Yeah. The CWC doesn't,
which it looks awesome.
It does look really awesome.
It's really cool. I think Ryan and I said on Tuesday that the CWC is what we thought Raw Underground should have looked like. Because you have the fencing and stuff like that. It's dimly lit. But yeah, you don't get that. I mean, and good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, you had Performance Center, empty building wrestling for a while. It was something that we could have never thought we were going to see, but they made the best out of a terrible situation. AEW, luckily they have Daly's Place and they've done that, and they've done creative things with it as well. William said he was in attendance for the first SmackDown on Fox. The fans booed Brock big time. Yeah, I mean that should have gotten as much heat as it got. I mean that was the purpose behind it, and it got it. Scotty said his best moment of the year on WWE pay-per-view was Taker in the AJ in the Boneyard match. Absolutely, which obviously as we get start inching closer to the end of the year because we're already pretty much halfway through October at this point.
Don't remind me.
We're gonna have to start, thinking about making our top matches of the year, and we'll get to those obviously in a couple of months. So, but a couple other ones, a couple other things I had written down here is you had the pay-per-view Wednesdays, so to speak, at the Great American Bash, back-to-back weeks on NXT. You had, I think they did Fight for the Fallen and Fyter Fest on AEW. So you had these typical, what probably would have been pay-per-view shows on weekly TV. I think Ryan, you had touched on the theme specifically for me was the build to Cena and the Fiend at WrestleMania, because it started when there was still people in the crowds, and then they had to get really creative, and I think they did a fantastic job when they went into the Performance Center. Ryan, when you were off, your phone was restarting. I had said that the 14 years promo from Cody Rhodes, the NXT Fight Pit. That was something different, and I really enjoyed that. And then also, and this is one of those moments, and obviously, Drew McIntyre as WWE champion, and things like that. But Jake the Snake, like FTR arriving on AEW, but I think of Jake the Snake and his arrival to AEW, Matt Hardy as well. Those are moments that it goes in the long list of things that it sucks that it wasn't able to be in front of a crowd, because those things I think would have been bigger, would have felt bigger, would have had bigger impact, reaction, etc. But good on all of the brands for not stopping plans just because, unfortunately we can't have crowds or full, as we are now, full crowds in these buildings. Is there any other moments, matches, memories from the year, or if there's not, then I think we got to take a break. All right, so let's.
Could you hit the Bob button one more time? I just like to hear it.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Bob!
3 Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app, that's arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?